Okay, good afternoon. I am Lisa J. Stocks, and I am here with Marlene from Marlene Motivates. And today's topic is going to be about kicking off quarter two of 2026, which happens to be in, we are right in the month of April now, which is Financial Literacy Month. So those are going to be the themes of today, talking about the four pillars of being financially stable, fit, and having all of the understanding that you need to move forward. But before I go on anymore, Marlene, please take a second and introduce yourself, greet the people.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I am Marlene Motivates. I am a life coach. And on my channel, I focus on mindset shifting because when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. So that's what I do over there. So feel free to come on over anytime you would like some of that motivation.
Okay, and Marlene's channel is in the description. So 25% of 2026 is over and done with. And so let's start to reflect on what we've done, what still needs to be done, what we need to focus on, and we just making all the steps and strides to improve our money. And like I said, it's Financial Literacy Month. So I think I'll be touching on the different aspects about um, changing your financial outlook for the better throughout this month. And I just want to touch on something because it's not just about being here today and listening to these things and just knowing what you have to do. Awareness without action means nothing. So really write these things down, figure out where your weaknesses are and make strives to really make some improvement. So Marlene, I sometimes forget about these different things. Were you aware that it was Financial Literacy Month?
I
No,
was not there.
I forgot about it too, but in trying to think about a theme or a topic for today, I came across it and I was like, perfect, perfect. It's the beginning of the month. And um, we all have different things that we need to work on, but I'm sure that everyone is going to have some area here that they can improve on. Now, let me take a quick look at the chat. And your green thumb is saying, I love this. I love the program. What is good investment to start for a 15-year-old on? I know nothing about investing. I want to start my daughter. Okay. Let me see who else is in the chat. Thank you, Daryl, Boop and Budgets. Thank you, everyone who's tuning in and chatting so far. Now, your green thumb, please drop me a comment outside of this live stream because I'm going to direct you to a couple of videos that I have for investing related to a 529 plan and a UTMA account. And those are ways that you can invest for your daughter. I happen to do it through Fidelity, but if you leave me a comment, I will make sure to direct you to some videos that can help you with that question because it's, I want you to get the detail and then you can get back to me again on it. But I definitely have things like that handy that will be easy for you to, get a start with, depending on what you want to do for your daughter, as far as if you want her investments tied to only for higher education, or if you want her to have the flexibility of what the funds will be used for in the future. Okay. All right. So guys, we're going to get a little bit into the topic, but feel free to drop your questions and comments and I will come back to it. We'll take breaks from time to time and take a look to make sure that we're not missing anything. Okay. So in this community, in any community, there's going to be a mix of different people that are in different stages of their journey as far as investing. I'm going to take one more quick station break. 14 people in the live. I want to see 14 likes. If you are here and enjoying this topic, make sure you take a second to hit that like button. I'm also going to drop Marlene's channel in the chat, or if Daryl, if you are able to do that, drop Marlene Motivates for me. I would appreciate it. So make sure that you're giving the live a thumbs up, and we're going to get into our topic now for a little bit, but I will be coming back to the live stream. to the chat. So all of us, we come from different households, have a different level of knowledge, and I want everyone to be empowered to feel like they're able to do these things even if they didn't grow up around it. So, um, these themes, they come up in every show that I seem to do by myself or with my co-host today, Marlene. So, what are your thoughts on like building financial literacy and the four pillars that we're going to be going over today? Like, do you think that everyone has work to do in some of these areas, Marlene?
Yes, no, no, I don't think there's anybody who says, "Oh, I have everything together that I want together." Everybody has a little work that they need to do, but I honestly believe that it's first starts with education. Gaining the knowledge, and then taking action to be able to get where you want to get.
Yes, yes. So I want, even if you didn't grow up around it, don't feel like home ownership is not for you. You can be the first one to break different cycles that have been going on in your family. And potentially be the first person to leave a legacy, have things in place so that you can pass something on to your children and grandchildren. Just because it hasn't happened for you, definitely have your mind open to being able to make that change and create something different for your family going forward. And, even higher education, home ownership. There's so many things that you may not have seen go on, but don't ever feel like it's not going to be for you because you can be the first. And by building knowledge, this is a good start to it. So, any thoughts on what I'm sharing here, Marlene?
Yeah, you know that I'm very big on mindset shifting, especially a lot of people have the belief system that, oh, I wasn't raised or I didn't grow up in generational wealth, so it won't happen for me. When you shift your mindset to that is possible, that it all comes down to choices and actions. So shift your actions, shift the choices that you make, and also shift your thinking, because if you believe that you can't do something, you won't.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, I remember once I was having a conversation. I made a reference to when I have a home in front of one of my coworkers, and they said to me, "How do you know you're going to have a house?" And I just made me think to myself. Now, when I think back on that comment that that person made to me, it really shows me that I'm glad that I got around different people and didn't let those type of negativity like drag me down because um that I wasn't making any extreme statement there. I'm just saying like I'm gonna have tomatoes and peppers in my garden when I have a house. And
Yeah.
so for someone to think that lowly of me, that how do I know I'm ever going to have a home? Because I'm aspiring to create that for myself. I'm saving, I'm looking, I'm trying to, even if I am the first person in my home to buy a home, which I was not, uh, just you need to have yourself around people that have some ambition and are willing to have their mind open to it's you can create something new for yourself. So have you ever had any experience like that where someone just was like, "You're not gonna get promoted," or "You can't get a job there," or just some type of negativity?
Yes, I most definitely have, Lisa. That's all that I had growing up around me in my community, because a lot of us don't see it from maybe your parents or siblings or other relatives. But like you said, you can be the first one to create that generational wealth just by the thoughts. And I'm glad that you mentioned your associates, because the people that you surround yourself with, what is the saying? Show me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. So if you have people who have that broken mentality of, oh, I'll never have anything, I'll never have, my mom didn't have it, so I'm not going to have it. If you surround yourself with that, that's what you're going to become as well. So when I started to shift my mindset and also shift the people that I surrounded myself by, and not just in person, but maybe people you follow through podcasts or the books that you read and things like that. When you start shifting that level of education, you start thinking differently and you start acting differently as well.
Yes, yes, it does give you a better energy and like, you're not any competition, but you feel encouraged. You feel encouraged like, "Oh, okay, we're doing big things around here." And, that's the type of atmosphere I wanna be around, you know? I don't want anyone discouraging me before I've even made strides to scratch the surface, someone trying to say that it's not gonna happen for me. No, that's not what I want around me. And all right, so now let's get into the four pillars of today's conversation. And this is inspired by it being Financial Literacy Month. So we're going to touch on four different areas. Budgeting is going to be number one, savings, investing, and then we're going to end talking about debt and credit. And this is just to highlight those areas that most likely there is some work to be done in or some improvement. So, uh, which pillar would you say, if any, you need some improvement in, Marlene?
I think I would say credit.
Credit. Okay, okay. I thought you were going to say investing.
Mm,
um, And when I say improvement, I'm not necessarily saying that you're not doing anything in the area, but just maybe a little more effort, a little more knowledge, learn something new during this month that you can bring, forward with you for the rest of your life. Um, I have to clear my throat, guys. Excuse me for
okay,
1 second.
no problem. Um, and also, everybody, remember that you are the one that has to make the choice to make changes, like Lisa was saying. And that's why I always say, move in silence. Don't tell everybody about the moves that you're making.
Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Um, I always think that whenever someone says that.
Yeah.
Uh, so, guys, share in the chat any pillars or any areas that you are struggling with, or the ones that you want to make some kind of improvement in. Um, Tip takes, you're laughing at me every time I hear that. That's all I'm thinking. Um, Okay, okay. So, guys, if I didn't greet you, I appreciate you being here, and I will be going back to the chat and answering any questions. Thank you for the reminders to hit the like. Thank you guys for chatting with each other. And let's see. All right. So, back to budgeting. Now, budgeting. Let's not think of it as like restricting yourselves. Just think of it as becoming aware and really making sure that all of your dollars are going to where you truly want them. Once you evaluate your budget, you might realize that I'm spending too much on this certain area. I'm indulging too much on clothing and eating out, and I'm not seeing my investments being able to thrive. I'm not seeing my emergency fund being enough when I do run into issues. And so I need to change this. So what are your thoughts, or can you share some insight on what you think budgeting, how people should approach budgeting so that it doesn't feel like torture?
Yeah. Well, my thing is always it's everything is about balance and knowing your personal situation and not making any comparisons to other people, because that will make you crazy. Oh, I'm behind and I should have this and I should have this knowledge. You have to be patient with yourself. And whatever you don't have knowledge of, uh, you know, go on the internet, read books, follow people who are successful, and then apply it to your life. One of the things that I say in the approach of budgeting, that it's important to first know how much that you're bringing in. You wouldn't believe how much individuals do not even know what is their income monthly. So if you don't know your income monthly, how are you going to be able to budget it properly? You have to be a good steward of your own finances.
Agreed, agreed. What's coming in, what's going out? Um, and then from there, make strides to make sure the balance is what you truly want. Like I said, I was just sharing in Sunday's live that it's only been about 14 months since the last price increase when it comes to Netflix. And Netflix is raising their prices again. So there's lots of different subscriptions that you might have. It might be even related to Marlene and I are content creators. So you might have an app that you're using, Canva or StreamYard or something like that. Then you might have lots of different things, gym membership or a certain, beauty treatment or something that you get mailed to you, a box that you're in a monthly subscription to receive product. Obviously, those streaming services and things like that, evaluate them and really see if there's any that you might be able to adjust in order to save money. With the Netflix example that I gave, can you consider doing a lower tier that might have ads in it if you still want to keep it, but be able to save yourself like $10 per month? Are you really, are all of the subscriptions that you have, are they benefiting you? The XM radio in the car, the gym membership, all of the different streaming services, all these different things. Are there some that can be eliminated or adjusted maybe to a different plan in order to save you money? Or have you made any adjustments to anything, your phone plan or anything like that, in order to save money recently, or even not recently at all, Marlene? Anything that you can share on that topic?
I when we went through C-19, my family, we really got to evaluating the things that's really important in life. And what's important is our health. So I went through and I started looking like what am I doing to promote better health? What makes me happy, and what do I have just to have it? Is it necessary? Every single person has to be able to answer that on their own. We each know what's important to us, but is it bringing us some benefit for our finances, or are we wasting our money? It's about um, what did my dad used to say? Putting a cork in those holes, and not letting things just go out, when you don't have to. So if there's something that you can eliminate or something that you can slow down, any slow leaks or anything like that, you know, you got to look into those things. What can I do better so that I'm not wasting money? And also, do I really need it, or do I just want it?
Mhm. And in my personal experience, I mean, even this year, and giving a call to certain different providers, they have retention departments. It may not be a permanent thing that they give you, but if you call up and you start having these conversations of, I want to make sure I decrease my bill, I'm thinking about going to a different service provider, they'll connect you with someone and they'll want to potentially give you 6 months or a year at a discounted rate. So if it's not, if you can't call every month trying to do these things, but if you take a look at, say, your Wi-Fi provider for your home, cable Wi-Fi, home phone, if you still have one of those, different things like that, your personal cell phone provider, give them a call and see if there are any things that they will do, even if it is on a temporary basis. And obviously, if there is another provider with lower fees, you might just have to make the change completely. As long as it's an equal service. But don't forget to make try to do it. Try to do it. It doesn't hurt to ask, and all you can do is get a no. But most of the time, I've seen when I took these steps, I've had an opportunity to decrease my bill in some way, even if it isn't permanent. even if it is, like I said, a 6-month special that they put me on, I can then have a little bit more time to find a different provider for that service and at the same time decrease my bill and move forward like that. So thank you, SBK, and everyone who is tuning in so far. Now, guys, take a second to hit that like button. And after the live, if I know I'm on vertical, so you might not be able to click on it, but after the live, go to the description and you can subscribe to Marlene's channel. Okay. But take a second right now, tap that screen, get this likes up. Now, that was just a little bit on budgeting. If you guys have any comments that you want to share, any, how are you breaking down your budget? So a simple breakdown, like Marlene was touching on before, you have to know what's coming in first. Now, you take all of that, whether if you do it every 2 weeks, however you break it down, figure out what's coming in and then set a rule to it. First, it might take some time to adjust to this rule if your things are like really off balance, but you can try to strive for 50% needs, 30% wants, and 20% saving and investing. So that's just a little bit of a guideline, but everyone's circumstances are different. If you really haven't been putting attention to the saving and investing bucket, then that might be somewhere where you want to go a little heavier in order to get caught up and not be thrown off by the unexpected, quote unquote, unexpected situations. Thank you, Kevin, for tuning in. And thank you, SBK, for that super chat. I appreciate you. Okay, so Marlene, what are your thoughts on breaking down? Once you know what's coming in, how do you go about breaking it down? How do you go about adjusting when you see like, oh, I'm putting way too much into transportation and different buckets that are outweighing anything that's going to allow for the saving and investing?
One of the things that I like to do is like, what are the non-negotiables? What are the things that I can't change? Like, you can't change the light bill, water bill, like those bills that it's mandatory for you to pay them. You can't change those, but you can change all of those extras, those bonus, those all those other things. And one thing that I did recently is I started to bundle some of my streaming services, calling your providers and asking, do you have this with this or whatever streaming apps that you use? Can you bundle some things so that you can be able to save money in that way? And that's one thing that I did recently that I was not aware, that you could be bundling your apps that you're using instead of paying for them singly. You can double up or triple up.
Mm-hmm. And guys, even if you haven't done it already, give some of the free services a chance. There are some services that you can tap into, especially if you have maybe younger kids or something like that. There are services that you can tap into by using your library card information, or for yourself, maybe you can give Tubi a chance. If you have Amazon Prime, you have Amazon, rely on the ones that are linked to something already instead of having to have additional services that cost you more money. So I'm trying to just make sure to give those things a chance to take a look at. And I saw, how recently the McDonald's CEO was being there was a lot of jokes about the way he barely bit the burger, and then Wendy's and all the other places were teasing about it. I saw the same thing going on with the Netflix subscription increase. Tubi says we were zero, we've been zero in 2020. Instead of giving a breakdown of the last 5 years, how many times Netflix has raised their prices, Tubi was like, we were zero in 2023 and 2024 and 20, and so on. So just trying to say, hey, there are some free places out there where you can be entertained, or at least mix them in along with things that you really, really have narrowed down to the ones that you are enjoying. So let's take a look at what Kevin is saying. just switch from ChatGPT for more value. Okay. So yeah, so many different things are always popping up that have these charges. I'm not paying for any I'm using the free version on all of my ChatGPT or Copilot and things like that, but you have to take a chance sometimes, and if you do take a chance on adding a subscription, evaluate it for that 1 month and see if it's worth it, if it's something that you can then turn off, if it's not adding benefit to you.
And also, don't forget about the trials. If you can get 30 days for free, really use it for those 30 days and then evaluate, is this something that I actually want to pay for?
Okay. So Kevin is a content creator. He's mentioning some of those things that I'm thinking of: Dropbox, Microsoft 365. There's lots of different subscriptions and things that you may need because of your extracurricular or just your own, strives to improve yourself as a content creator. But even with those, really take a look and see if there are free versions or lower cost versions, anything to save ourselves some money. Okay, so Boop and budgets. I started budgeting in 2024 and I have saved over 50K. That is awesome. That is awesome. So, take a hard look. I'm sure that they have a handle on every last dollar in order to make a goal like that happen for themselves. All right. So now let's go on to pillar number 2, which is savings. And we just saw someone who has just made a huge accomplishment as far as savings. And we often say, we have to be ready for those unexpected expenses. And the expenses are not so unexpected. It's just a matter of us having the different buckets for what's going to come up. We know something is going to come up. Can you share, Marlene, some of those things that people might put in that bucket as unexpected that you've run into over the last couple of years?
Car maintenance, home maintenance, like one of the major ones is that we never really think about the medical side of, maybe getting sick and some of those co-pays or medicine, prescriptions and things like that. So you have to have something on the side besides the insurance in place, that just in case if there's going to be any added expenses that is not in your day-to-day budget, that you'll be able to borrow, as I say, borrow from yourself and
Mhm.
take care of it, because it's better to have it than to not have it and be at a loss, like what am I going to do next, and panic.
Yes, exactly. It gives you peace of mind so that you won't have to panic. But Marlene basically said exactly what I was trying to hint at. Home repairs, medical costs, car repairs, these things are not unexpected. I may not know exactly what month, I'm going to need uh, to replace my tires. I may not know when I'm going to, have to go to the orthopedic walk-in because I have a terrible backache. But I know these things are going to happen. The car is going to need repairs. Something is going to go. There's going to be a leaky something that happens in the house, a leaking roof or something. I'm going to know these things are coming. So we need to not let yourself think of them as a totally unexpected expense that just came out of nowhere. It's coming. We know it's coming. It happens, on a regular basis. And so let's be prepared for it. And Boop and budgets, from what she's sharing, she's going to be ready and prepared with money on hand to take care of whatever comes up. Even if we don't know exactly when it's going to happen, I know that it's coming. Right now, I need tires. Right now, I have a backache and may go to the orthopedic walk-in. And so, yeah, these things come up, and I know that these days are going to come, and so I have to be ready for it. So, I was sharing what would you, Marlene, what would be a breakdown that you would encourage someone to have as starting to get an emergency fund together?
My thing is, I always say at least just start off with 1 month, and then build. Um, because one of the things is that you will overwhelm yourself thinking, "Oh, I can never have 6 months or I can never have a year." That's how I started. I started off with 30 days, then 60, then 90, and then 6 months and up to a year. Until you get where you're going, you have to start where you are. And if all you can do is 1 month right now, that's fine. That's good. At least you will have yourself ready for when you have those expenses. Like we were saying, it's always better to have than to not have it and then panic. It's always better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, guys, everyone in the chat, do you currently have an emergency fund in place? Do you when you have to use your credit cards to pay for that car repair or home repair, whatever those co-pays that come up at the hospital or from your, whatever medical provider you have to go to? Do you have emergency funds to then pay for it in full and not run yourself into debt? Share a yes or a no in the chat. And as far as emergency funds, I want everyone to start where you're at. So I would say, depending on what your income is, you know what the number is. Know what you have coming in, know what you have going out. Start with, maybe if you're not to a full 1 month of expenses yet, one paycheck, $1,000. Set a smaller goal for yourself and then work towards, the 1 month of expenses, 2 months, 3 months. But don't feel like, don't jump in with a goal that is too unattainable, too overwhelming. So, but make a goal for yourself, because this is one of the four pillars of that will give your finances strength to withstand and grow and build. So, let's go on to the next pillar. And this is the one that is built into my name over here, Lisa J. Stocks, and it is investing. And I was listening to Daryl Fire with Dr. Ninja's live stream earlier today, and he had a poll question up. Let me just share his channel name so you guys can see it right here. And he had a poll question up about, where should you start with investing? Should it be real estate or should it be the stock market? And I voted for the stock market should be your first investment. What would you have voted in that poll question, Marlene?
Honestly, real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, why is that?
I don't know. I think that's my comfort zone because that's what I saw growing up. It's not that I am not into investing, but that's what I've seen my whole life. So I feel like it's easier for me because that's what I know the most about.
I do both, but I think I was gravitating towards I'm going to gravitate towards the stock market because a baby 1 month old can be getting their foot into the stock market via the investments that their family can get started for them. Real estate is something that's going to come on, even though you don't have to have the full cost of buying the property. You're going to get a mortgage. You're going to pay it over time. But I feel like real estate is something, I feel like investments, whether your family gets started for you before you are, of age, or if you get started with it as soon as you start working, even if you are a teenager, and then, as you're older, get your first job, whether it's your first real corporate job or just your first job of being into working at the fast food place down the road, the Dunkin' Donuts or whatever. You can get started with real estate you can get started with investing so much earlier than real estate. So that was just my thought process when I answered the question. But in time, I did incorporate both, just like you have. But I can see when I think of it, I'm thinking of it from the aspect that I'm always trying to encourage people to do is to bring the kids along with us on the journey to investing as early as possible. And I'm going to take a quick second to acknowledge Boop and Budgets. Thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate you tuning in today and showing the channel that support and love. And so let me give one quick drop. And this is another shout out to SPK as well as Boop and Budgets.
Thank you so much. We do greatly appreciate it.
So I was so now that I shared my thought process on it, what do you still feel the same about real estate first and working on the stock market later?
Yeah, I still feel the same about it, but since I have been, we've been collaborating, I honestly feel like you have been pushing me and nudging me to give more give more of investing a try, a chance. It's not that I have not been into it, but I feel, I don't know, it's just something I feel like as a magnet, I'm pulled more towards the real estate side, but I do agree that even you can start much younger and with much less in investing. So I do agree with that. More people should give investing a try, a chance.
Yes, lower barriers, but I think both are both great, especially house hacking. Maybe buying a 3-family or something like that as your first home, and then staying there for a few years before you move on to something that might fit your dream home as opposed to that. I did not do that, and I wish that I did. And I also wish that if you are a couple buying the first home, and I know prices today are not what they were 20 years ago, but another thing that I wish I would have potentially pushed myself to do is that independently, me and my spouse work to get the first home buyer experience and benefits individually instead of us buying the home together so that, you can take advantage of it twice. But okay, let me take a look. I see a comment. I agree with you, Lisa. The earlier you can invest, the better and more your money can grow. Yes. So and for the kids, I always use these type of examples like we're having right now. It is Good Friday. Happy holiday to those who do celebrate and will be attending church and everything on Easter Sunday. But for a lot of people, this is one of those times when you're spending money on the Easter baskets, you're spending money for Valentine's and the birthdays and Christmas and proms and all those things. Can somebody contribute, someone in the family, or if you can find the money to contribute to all of those things, this is a time when I also like to put it out there that this is one of those times that you're able to put money to that, also put money to the UTMA or the 529 plan, to the high yield savings account, and things that will last much longer than just today, in order to be on track to build that wealth. Okay, let's see. Okay, so investing. Does anybody have any investing questions or comments that they want to make? My channel, it seems like what really resonates with the people, I have a bit of an older demographic, and they don't necessarily want to research those individual stocks. They want to rely on those funds, ETF, mutual funds, build wealth in their IRA or through their employer 401k plan, for example. And I think that is a great way to focus. I think everyone's first investment as an adult should be your retirement account and worrying about or focusing on taking care of your older selves. And then from there, I do other things, but that's my first priority. First investment is for retirement for myself. Then I have additional accounts that are flexible, a regular brokerage account that I can tap into if I want to take profits. I have an account, two accounts for my daughter right now. She has the Fidelity Youth account and she has a UTMA account. So things that can help her money be growing, just like I'm striving to do for myself. What are your thoughts on structuring your investments and what the long-term mindset should be about building wealth through investing, Marlene?
Um, everybody's situation is different. And like you've covered before, it's not about how much you make, it's what you do with what you make. So you have to really think about what you want to do, what's your ultimate goal, what's your number, and then find ways to get to that number through all of those accounts. And I think one of the things that you really helped me with that kind of was getting in my way is I was always wanting to buy whole stocks. And you helped me to realize, like, Marley, you don't have to do the whole thing. So that's an encouragement to others as well when it comes to investing, that you can start with, getting investing $10. You opened up my eyes. I was like, wow, I never even thought about doing that. I was always thinking I can't do it until I get and I can buy a whole, that. So that helped me to realize, like, okay, you can do more. It's about widening your lens and what you can do, and not staying stuck, not making excuses, but planning, and then doing your research, knowing what you want to do, watching the stocks, and then just going for it and not putting all of your eggs in one basket. I think that for me, I learned the lesson the hard way, is not putting all my eggs in one basket, making sure you are diversifying your portfolio.
Okay, I'm so glad to hear you say that. That is one of the biggest messages that I wanted to get across through my channel. And, when I started my channel, I had no plan on what I was going to share and didn't know exactly, I didn't have a blueprint on what things were going to go over well as far as what I was going to share. And I saw that I wanted to really show people that wealth is not built overnight. But there's no barrier in 2026, 2025, 2024. I've only been on YouTube for the last few years. There is no barrier to stop you from investing. There's no high limits that you have to have, and you don't have to pick those individual stocks. You can pick a ETF or mutual fund and just consistently build into it. And I invested $10 daily into one investment, and that was VCI. And in time, I got to 35 shares with that particular, I call it a challenge, but you see, I didn't just go for my 10-week challenge period. I went 3 years and some extra, maybe 3 years and 3 months of doing it. And so even if it is $5 or, a certain amount per week, staying consistent with it can really make a difference. Now, obviously, there are guidelines like from Fidelity to invest 15% of your income between what you're contributing, as well as if you do have a company match. So I want to see you strive to hit those higher milestones as far as investing, but don't let anything hold you back. Something is better than nothing, and you don't have to be in anything risky. It may be disappointing to look at your portfolio right now because the market is down in 2026, and just between these war times and this administration and all the things that have gone on, it's been a whole year now since Liberation Day, almost to the day. So it's been a rough time period, but we have to know, like, if you're not tapping into this for 5 or 10 or 15, 20 years, whatever your time frame is for retirement, you have to think about the long term here. So, And buying fractional shares, really, I would encourage everyone to have a broker that allows you for that, so that you're not stressed about any price of any investment holding you back on your investing journey. I have two. I have most of my everything related to retirement. My daughter, my business is at Fidelity, and their investment bar is $1 as far as what you can invest, and it's the same at Webull, $1. On the MooMoo investing app, it's $5. So all very reasonable levels. It's just a matter of staying consistent. So do you have anything that you've built on or worked on using fractional shares once you decided that, yeah, it's okay to invest a little bit and build towards my share goal?
Honestly, I trust my broker. So we talk about the goals and what I want to do, and I kind of have given him the reins because it's not my lane. But I pay attention to your videos, Lisa, and Lisa recommends this, so I'm gonna go for that. But yeah, I mainly stick with my broker's recommendations, your recommendations, because I'm new to investing. But yeah, I'm just like you said, I am trying to stay consistent because I think that is the problem for most people, is not being consistent. And yeah, and feeling that you have to have a certain number in order to invest, and you don't. You'll get in your own way if you do that.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now we are coming up on our last pillar of the day, and that is going to be debt and credit. Now, this is one. This is one that me and Marlene are not aligned on, because Marlene is a cash in hands kind of a person. She once, on one live stream we were doing together, she gave an example of if she was out with someone and they paid with their credit card, that would give her the impression that they had debt. Do you recall this conversation?
Yeah.
And I was like, Marlene, that would mean nothing to me if I was out with someone and they pulled out their credit card to buy a soda, or to put gas in the car to pay for the meal. That would not make me anything. That would not click anything in me to say that they're carrying debt, because I use my credit card for everything. I don't care how small of a purchase it is. I very rarely even have cash to cover a trip to the gas station. I most likely would not have that amount of cash on me, or to pay for a meal, or to a manicure or something like that. So I stick with using my cards for everything, and then I just paid in full before the closing date. Um, Thank you, Joe, for giving the third super chat of the day. I appreciate you tuning in and being a channel member and all of your support. Thank you, Boop and Budgets, for being here and chatting and being a part of the show with us. You have a great long weekend. Okay. And let me go back. All right. So Joe is chiming in about what I'm saying about the credit cards, I think. And she's saying, no, it means they make their money work for them. I want rewards for using my money. Yes, that's my whole thought process. But you have to do what fits right into, if using the money in hand, you explain for yourself, Marlene, what using the cash on hand does for you and how it works better for the way that you go about budgeting and spending.
Well, I live my life on cash envelope um, basis. Like, I do cash stuffing. I have all my envelopes. That's how I pay my bills. I'm old school, old fashioned. I write pen and paper, and it works better. I've tried other routes, and it just doesn't work for me. But I recently have been more open to using credit cards and then paying it off, and I was like, this is a little less stressful. So, I'm learning and I'm growing, and I just want everybody else to be open to to learning and gaining knowledge, that you don't have to have a strict rhyme or reason about something. You can be open to learning how to use your credit, and budgeting and so many other things when it comes to our finances, because we all can improve in one area or another.
Hmm. So, so I guess because of your past experience, it just sits well with you to lean towards that way. Whereas I think that for me, I will pay. It depends on the card. Like my Bank of America card, they don't have any limitations on how often you can pay. Citibank does.
Mhm.
So it's just a matter of like if I go, say today, if I went to the supermarket and the gas station and picked up some food or something, um, I can then come home and pay for it immediately. So it just works for me. I do have to stay on top of it so that it doesn't build up. But as long as I have a plan and structure on getting it paid quickly, and not letting it sit there for 2 or 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden I go to check my balance and I'm just like, oh, that's a lot. I stay constantly paying it. So it works for me. But yeah, I wouldn't, when you were giving that example of someone paying for the dinner with the credit card, I would never think like they have a lot of debt because I know I would be using my card and I don't have any lingering credit card debt. And that goes back to, well, this this together is we already went over savings, but this is why when we were talking about, building up that month, that first paycheck, all those different milestones that you can hit, um, this is why I encourage it, is so that when you have to put four tires on the car, you can then take the money from the designated cash envelope or transfer it from, your high yield savings account and just take care of it and not have to be paying interest and have something lingering. And this is what we have to be ready for. So I think another place in this area where we're not aligned is going about a strategy on paying off your debt. Snowball being the smallest amount to the largest, and Avalanche being from the highest interest rate first. Which one do you lean towards?
I'm definitely a snowball.
Yes. Okay. I thought so. And so, it doesn't matter really how you go about it. You have to do what resonates with you and what keeps you on track and keeps you motivated. And both of us have the same, we're going to get to the same outcome, or we have gotten to the same outcome of not carrying debt, but Marlene and I went about it in different ways. I'm a person that leans towards that avalanche method of wanting to list out all the debts and the interest rates and going for the highest interest rate first. And definitely using my credit card for having a system of what I'm using my credit cards for. Like there's one that I use to put gas in my car. There's one that I have, say, the Netflix subscription, and I use it to pay, say, the gas bill and the electric bill. So I know each card is getting hit with certain things on a monthly basis. And as they come on, I pay them. And then from there, I get either cashback rewards or points rewards, which I usually use my points just to get gift cards, not necessarily trying to build for any like airline points or something like that. I'll then just get a gift card, maybe for the gas station, maybe for Walmart, and I'll go do a super Walmart run and get different, whatever. You get everything at the super Walmart, whatever you might need. So that's how I go about it. So, do you know, like, you have anything that you can share? This pillar we're talking about right now is debt and credit. Anything you want to share on keeping up with your credit score, or what areas do you think people can work on in this bucket?
Oh, well, it depends on where you are, honestly. Like when it comes to debt, my thing is trying your best not to make new debt. Keep your debt at a minimum if it's possible, and finding ways to try to lower your debt. but also at the same time, being responsible and having fun, because that's something that a lot of us, we're so focused on, we got our investing, we got this, and my retirement and this. Remember to put some fun into your life as well. It's not just about always or being responsible, but let your hair down a little sometimes and reward yourself for your hard work.
hmm And within reason, like I don't know that a Birkin bag will never be fitting into my budget, but maybe I think at a minimum, I think maybe they start at 12,000. So, you know, a treat for yourself within reason that you can pay for in full. I can see not every month.
No,
I don't, but within reason, I definitely agree with you that you need to treat yourself and reward yourself, but put some work in before you're rewarding yourself. So, yes, and realize that your credit score and all these things can help you with an interest rate if you do, when the time comes to buy a home, if you do need to finance a car, hopefully for a very short period of time. These car loans getting up to 7 years and these different ranges are crazy, but housing, employment, there are different things that your credit is going to be looked at. So make sure that you are prioritizing it and being aware of what your score even is. I recently ran into something with my credit, and it was a $2 balance that was left on my Macy's charge. And so I had to get that straightened out because they reported that I was late for like 3 or 4 months, and it was a $2 balance that was lingering. And that all stemmed from a purchase that I made in the store. And when I make a purchase in the store, I don't go there very often, but just to keep activity on my card, I use my card when I go. So I might like buy a pair of shoes. I might buy a perfume, just one particular item. And I then pay for it in full while I'm at the register there because I don't carry a balance. So I just want to just get it cleared up right away. And I think, say I spent $32, but the payment was put in as $30, leaving a $2 balance,
wow.
which I was not aware of, and not, it didn't even cross my mind that I could have a balance. But anyways, so I wound up with like being 3 months late on my credit card payment, but I've gotten them to write a letter to get that removed. But because the amount is not what matters. It's that I had late, so many months late on my card. So we have to be aware. We have to look and find out those little things that could be lingering and make sure that everything is accurate. So, all right. So that's it for today, guys. Really, I just wanted to touch on those 4 pillars, areas that you can work on. And I want you to think about what we were talking about. Choose one pillar, take one action, and see what improvements you could strive to make. And this is financial literacy month, but these are things that I want you to work on now. It's the beginning of a new quarter. I'm not a person that like always leans towards those making a New Year's resolution, but it is a place. It is like a time frame when I usually do take a break and say, hey, let's evaluate what went on in quarter one, what went on over the last year. Find these times to evaluate what's going on in your finances and then take those strides to make improvement. So, Marlene, what did you think about today's topic? How do you think it all ties together?
I think it's amazing to have conversations like this because, Lisa, you are really spreading awareness on your channel. You're doing an amazing job and talking about investing and getting people to think about their credit and their credit utilization and having an emergency fund and all of these other things, because all of those things equate to a better quality of your life. And when you have a better quality of your life, you're going to be happier, and you're not going to be in this zone of saying, oh, I don't know what to do, and do nothing about it. See, we have the knowledge. We can read. You can watch Lisa's videos and live streams and gain the knowledge, and then do something about it. That's all we can ask, is that you come here to Lisa's channel, you learn, and then you make application in your life. And I love the fact that you're doing this on your platform.
Thank you so much. That was very nice of you to say, Marlene. So, guys, feel free to leave me some comments, especially your green thumb. Leave me that comment about the question you had about your 15-year-old daughter. Feel free to leave me any questions and comments after the live stream. If you want me to share any videos, if you have any suggestions, just comment in general. Make sure to comment, like, hype, subscribe, do all of the things to my channel. Check out Marlene's channel, and let's stay on track to break the cycle, build wealth, and become financially invincible. And so I'm going to wrap it up for today. Be on the lookout for more live streams in the future from myself, collaborating with Marlene. Have that notification bell on, and we will see you back here. You can see me back here on Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but I'm always trying to keep you guys up to date, put out new information as far as videos and live streams throughout the week, throughout the month, all of the time. I don't have a set schedule. Marlene, do you have any schedule that you want to share with the people on any of your particular channels that you're trying to share on?
Sure. On Mondays, I do the Monday Blast with my collaborators, Boss Life Online and Be Amazing Sylvia. It's Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then in between, I usually, probably midweek, maybe Wednesdays, I'll do some motivational topic. But that's my schedule right now.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, have a great holiday weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye, Marlene.
Thank you.
Stock it up, stock it up, stock it up, stock it up, stock it up.